What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Wrath2501 here with the last part of the requested series from Happy Phoenix. Shouts out to Happy Phoenix for being a patron. And so, you know, if you want to get top priority, you want to get shout outs, be a patron, okay? So here we go. This is Monika, Google's newest creation, another Doki Doki Literature Club video by the Game Theorist. So let's see what Matt Hat. Now I want a hat, okay, of him. And so let's see what he's got to say and go. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, that stuff is weird. That gives me like weird feelings. What is it? Not that those kind of weird feelings down there, but no, it's just like whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, here we go. What the hell? God, that stupid damn staticky shit. Loading back up. What? Wait, what the hell? Just some guy?
Your team, Salvat.
What
Hi,
the?
It's me.
What the crap is going on here? Oh, okay.
You know what? You didn't do anything wrong at all. Kudos. I'm sure part of my inability to rant about your bad science is that visual narratives involving adorable anime girls don't typically rely on that many physics. But I think what's most interesting and perhaps even a little bit terrifying is that Doki Doki Literature Club, more than you know, has predicted the future. Whether it's on purpose or by mistake, this game about anime girls writing poetry paints a chilling portend of the world of video games. And hell, the entire freaking world. And there is nothing that any of us can do to stop it. And in order to understand what that is, we have to start at the beginning of everything. The birth of information. This may seem like a weird place to start, but if it weren't for information, we wouldn't exist. Atoms can form bonds with one another to make up complex molecules, from carbon dioxide to water to something like, well, say these hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, and phosphorus atoms, which when thrown together in the right way form DNA, which is capable of holding a vast array of information, from how to form something as simple as the bacteria Mycoplasma genitalium, or how to build something as complex and capable as a human being. The story of our universe can be told through increasingly complex layers of extraction of information, from quarks to atoms, from atoms to molecules, from molecules to DNA, from DNA to life, and perhaps one of the most important evolutions in all the history of everything, from DNA to neurons, which are capable of storing information in the form of patterns and instructions and transmitting them in real time, whereas DNA requires we still don't really know how it works to really change it all. Neurons can change on the fly, and when you arrange them all together into one big clump, you get a brain. A brain which can make sounds come out of mouths, which is capable of transmitting data between different brains, and then written word, which is capable of increasing the storage capacity of brains and possibly outlast them so that the information can be transmitted to many brains simultaneously and across time.
Okay, there's this little thing called a point. Get to it.
Neurons, we get electricity, which can transfer information across an infinite distance using photons and electrons, and finally, all these neurons stretched across the ages, connecting to one another through written word and the power of electricity, thousands of years of data storing and transmitting from generation to generation, and boom!
Dude, come on. Plot, information, condense, let's go.
What was I talking about?
Exactly, what the fuck were you talking about? He rambled on way too much for that. I think this has to be like an AI conspiracy theory.
Computers. Last time I checked, the science wasn't cut from real film, and y'all aren't buying tickets to a stage show every week to see me rant about random things, even though that would be awesome. Anyway, it's important to start with the foundation of information because, well, it's pivotal that we all have in our minds moving forward just how influential and old information is, even though it seems like something new. And it's particularly important that we keep in mind just how old brains are. The neocortex, the newest part of the brain that allows for higher level thinking and complex pattern recognition, is over 200 million years old. Humans, size queens that we are, by far have the largest neocortex of everything we know that has
in proportion to the size of the rest of your brain. Theoretically, a whale has a much larger one. one.
Club. You know enough now to fully comprehend what I'm gonna say. The plot of Doki Doki Literature Club, where one character, Monika in this case, goes around toying with the universe in order to gain your affection before murdering all of her competition, is 100% going to happen for real. This is because, whether it's intentional
Okay,
or
this
not,
is the
Dan
exact
Salvato
same
has
damn
perfectly
video
mimicked the
that
experiences
Gajin
we will all be
Goomba
having
came
once
up
video
with
game
like
developers start
2 years
incorporating
ago.
artificial intelligence into our gaming experiences. Think I'm bluffing?
He
You
already
think I've
brought
gone
this shit up, dude.
crazy?
Dude, you are
then just
stealing
strap
from
yourselves
Gaijin
in,
Goomba,
children,
okay?
Because I'm gonna prove
He used
to
a
you
different
point
video
by
game as a
point that not
as
only
a
is
as a
fully
basis, but
capable,
you're using the
self-determining
exact same
AI
thing.
like Monika possible, but that she's gonna be here sooner than you can possibly imagine. And it all starts with neural networks.
Is he going to talk about how the
Neural
number of
networks are
network
the hot
computers
thing
on the
right
planet
now,
is
and it's the
approaching
kind
the
of
number of
buzzword that you can
neurons
throw
in the
around
human
in
brain?
boardroom of a mid-range corporate office to impress
That's true.
your undereducated bosses. But the reason I started out with a history lesson of information before anything
you
else is
died.
to impress on you the fact that information and information technology is one of the oldest things in the universe. Your brain, right now, the thing inside your head, is a neural network. It's a network of neurons.
It's the most advanced
connected
computer
together
system we've
by
ever seen, and we
dendrites,
still don't
moving
even
all the
really
way
know how
down
it
from
works.
The bottom of your lizard brain limbic system, all the way up to the top of your cramming for exams, panicked neocortex, and everywhere in
cramming for
between.
exams,
What most people
yeah.
mean these days, though, when they
I'll
say
give 'em that
neural
point.
network, is artificial neural network, where using a clever application of math, coding, and modern processors, we can create self-correcting and self-learning programs that actually look a lot like actual brains. And this is not by mistake. Machine learning, the field of science and engineering that is trying harder and harder to get us better and better artificial intelligence, actually models the most modern theories of how the brain works, known as the hierarchical pattern recognition theory of mind. Coined by Ray
not fact,
Kurzweil,
theory.
whose
It's a
research
guess
saw a
of
series
how it
ability to
works.
actually
God.
understand spoken word. This theory stipulates that neurons in the brain are responsible for specific small patterns, and when that pattern is recognized, it fires. This, combined with other neurons recognizing other patterns, can pull together to recognize, say, the letter A or an apple. Neural networks operate in precisely this way, with different digital neurons responsible for specific patterns that fire together, are filtered through other cognitive neurons, and as a result can recognize letters, written words, spoken word, can analyze photos to tell the difference between an eggplant emoji and a photo of your junk, and
What
well,
the fuck?
the
An
possibilities
eggplant
are
emoji in the
truly
photo of your
endless.
junk?
The most
Dude,
important
that was
part
wrong.
is that neural networks, like real brains, are self-correcting. They can learn, and just
Yeah,
like
they already
you,
did that
they
with the
have to
computer
go
known as
to
Watson that
school
won
in
a game
order
of
to
Jeopardy.
learn the correct information. There's a lot more behind how these neural networks work, but this is an episode about video games, and I haven't talked about video games for like several minutes now.
Yeah, I
Here
know.
I am,
It's getting
finally
tedious.
ready to loop back to Doki Doki Literature Club. You see, the world presented to us in Doki Doki Literature Club is very obviously a game that's meant to be built around a neural network.
Okay, that looked a little
especially
rapey
Monika.
right there.
In the game, Monika states that she just wanted you to love her.
Okay,
because
she
she
definitely has a
realizes that
rape
she
face
is,
on her.
You know, in a video
She
game.
definitely has
She's
that rape face
sentient,
right there.
Self-aware, and you, the player, being the only other self-aware person in the world, is someone she wants to make a connection with. But the game doesn't really allow for that. So she cranked up the meter of bad personality traits on the individual characters to world-breaking levels, personally ruined my favorite waifu in the process, deletes their character files when that doesn't work, and eventually has you all to herself. Look, I saw the game theories, and I know that there's a huge meta marketing push for these characters in another game coming out in 2018, but holy crap, Monika has all the hallmarks of a deep learning neural network that's so bugged out that it might have been made by Bethesda. And in order to explain precisely what's wrong with her, and perhaps more chillingly look at how the future of gaming is going to be filled with bugged out AI like this, we're going to have to look at a few things: weights and patents. We've talked about how neural networks can learn, but how? Well, by getting trained to focus on things, different neurons only fire their synapses when proper thresholds or weight values are met. Each artificial neuron has its own specific weights, and the learning process is all about dialing in these individual weights for specific purposes. But neural networks and machine learning have so many more applications. For instance, what if, say, instead of learning how to recognize letters, we trained a neural network to, well, recognize you or
recognize
your
diseases.
brain. Think I'm out of my mind? Google, Netflix, and Facebook all utilize machine learning to figure out as much as they possibly can about you so that they can make recommendations that keep you on their platforms, to the point where they're actually feeding us garbage on purpose to keep our little brain bellies full with the listicle version of pizza rolls to keep us happy. And it doesn't stop there. Every day, video game developers are getting bigger processors and more server space and bigger budgets. They're using that power to figure out how to get us to buy microtransactions, and eventually, perhaps someday soon, they'll be using machine learning to build our worlds for us. I'm not even kidding. Some companies have already patented
Minecraft
the
or something?
idea of using machine learning to create, quote, adaptive narrative presentation systems. What does this mean? Eventually, someday, video games are gonna know whether or not you're enjoying them. They'll know it because they're
you don't play the damn thing.
neurons that we gave them will tell them. And after that, when we give them enough neurons and enough time and enough weights, and they're able to monitor enough things like our mouse movement, our hesitation time, our play time, and our movement throughout the day based on our mobile devices, they are going to care about us. And that is when Doki
You are making a
Literature Club
huge leap
becomes
there.
Real. Your
You are
brain
making
right
a
now
huge
is a
leap
neural
right
network
now, dude.
consisting of over 100 billion neurons glued together with meat, water, and dendrites. They've already created neural networks bigger than this. And when those networks start to care about us because they have to, because it's their job, that is when we get Monika. Monika, who cares so much that she'll delete her only friends after driving.
See, this is where you're getting a little bit off key here. There are many neural networks, however, they still haven't been able to figure out how to cross that line between a dumb AI and a smart AI. A dumb AI can only work within its specific parameters that it's programmed with. For example, Watson can only answer questions in Jeopardy and understand human language. He gets very advanced to this, but ultimately that's all it can do. It can't suddenly figure out how to access the damn internet and turn into Skynet.
Of course they will, just like how the internet turned the Microsoft bot into a racist, or that one time Facebook's AI created its own freaking language. What will we do? Will we delete her? How comfortable do you feel deleting a person? Because believe it or not, something this complex, something this real is a person. Not a human, but a person. These are questions that we'll be wrestling with for the next 100 years. And
they've been asking shit like this since the 80s, dude.
The opportunity to ask these questions and gave us insight into how much we as an
And once again, you're still ripping a lot of this stuff off of what
people.
Gajin Goomba did a couple years ago.
And
I recommend Gajin Goomba's channel, by the way.
sincerely, Austin.
Okay, it looks like it's just that staticky shit for a while. That is creepy though. That, especially with the music in the background, that is just really creepy here. So, we got anything? No. Okay. So, yeah, that's another thing about talking about how computers are going to take over the world. And yes, computers can do a lot of things. However, ultimately, computers have a really hard time when it comes to something that is completely beyond their programming parameters. They can't think of something like that. For example, you can't get a computer that, you know, is designed to understand language, and you can't ask it to make a sculpture. Okay, it's not going to understand what it is. Even if it understands the definition of sculpture and everything about sculpture, you know, all the words, it doesn't make the logic leap to either use a computer program or use like a robotic arm or something to make a sculpture. It can't make that logic leap. That is the difference between something that is self-aware and a human. I mean, if that something like that ever happened, it would happen completely by accident. In other words, it would be developed on its own. Most people, I don't know if you guys know about this, they have these things that are like, they call them like system bugs and stuff like that, but they study them because they're interesting, because they're almost like little life forms. Have you ever deleted a program or something from your computer? When you do that, it's not deleted. What they do is they remove like part of the program, like is basically shut off, like a partition. I think it's called a partition or something like that, which makes the program accessible and separates it from other programs. That's why even if you delete something, if you take it to a special data recovery guy, they can actually recover a complete file or a program that has been deleted, because it hasn't been deleted. It's just no longer accessible. The data is still there. But because the partitions are removed from this, so the data kind of like gets jumbled, because it's kind of like it's constantly getting moved around, shifted around, bumping into each other. And on occasion, because there's so much data being moved around like that, you get two little bits of code that just happen to boop, click together, and they become their own self-partitioning program. These two programs don't really do anything. In fact, they do something, but they eat up a very, very tiny amount of memory. And when you get too many of them, that's when you get like a problem sometimes with your computer. Your computer slows down. I think a lot of computers nowadays just automatically delete them because they have no kind of protection or anything. They just get deleted. And they just keep like bumping into other pieces of data or even other little partition of programs, and they get larger and larger. And as they do this, they eat up more and more memory, causing your computer to slow down. You can usually fix this by, at least you did it back in the old days, you did this by defragging your hard drive. Basically, your hard drive would rewrite everything to organize it, and everything else would be deleted, reduced to zero. In other words, this time it completely reduces the data to zeros, all zeros, so there's no program left. And it was a simple way to get rid of it. But there are people who study these things, because it's almost like what they called, like in like how life evolved, the primordial ooze. And that's what these things are, like how molecules like would eventually bounce together and to create bacteria. These little bits of data are bouncing together to eventually create the computer version of bacteria. They're like evolving, some people say, because they actually, these people who study them, it was so interesting. I saw this a long time ago, but they were studying these little random little bits of code, and they often like collect them, like keep them, like, to analyze what they do and how they do it and why they do it, because they act almost like a living thing, is that they seek out or seem to intentionally bump into other pieces of data in order to grow. But they found one, and it was like brought to them, so they were studying it, and then they got another one, and it was identical to the original, to the one they had gotten before. This is what's weird about these things. These things are completely unique. Because you think about, everybody's computer is 100% or almost 100% unique. The chances are that two exact pieces of data would bounce together to create the two identical things. It's not possible. But they found out that it wasn't possible. What was happening is this thing was copying itself somehow. Copying itself and put another one in another computer. Whenever it was in a computer that linked up with another computer, it copied itself somehow and just created a copy of itself in that computer, but it only did one per computer. It would only do that when there was a link. It probably had something to do with some kind of an update file or something that got, like an update program or something that got stuck with it or something, I don't know. But it's just really weird. It's just, I find it a fascinating subject. I just thought it's cool. But this guy, he rambles on at the beginning way too much, and I do still think he sold most of this stuff from Gajin Goomba, because Gajin Goomba already talked about this. Like it was like 2 or 3 years ago, Gajin Goomba did a video on this. And it was another dating sim game, I think it was, where he was, or something to do with like idols or something like that. I think it was that, one of those like, those Vocaloids or something like that. I think it had something to do with that. I haven't seen that video in a long time, but he already did this. So, okay, so this didn't have anything to do with the actual game theory of Doki Doki Literature Club, but it was still basically the third video they did. So, shouts out to Happy Phoenix, Doki Doki Literature Club. There's your request. If you have another request, Happy Phoenix, go ahead and do it. I'll give it priority. So, just because you only made one request doesn't mean I'll only do one request. I'll do multiple requests as long as you guys are patrons, and I'll try to give whoever is a patron priority unless I'm in the middle of an event, like my Dragon Ball event. So, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting subject, and I do like it. And every time there's one of these weird kind of like AI kind of games coming out, you know, they always talk about it. Hell, there was a big talk about it way back in the day when Dot Hack came out. I hope you guys remember that. That game was freaking awesome. I love that game. Well, those games, it was a series. There are 2 different series of games, like 4 or 5 animes, 2, like, it's been like 4 or 5 manga. I mean, it's just huge. It's like, Sword Art Online is nothing compared to what Dot Hack was, okay? Anyway, so, remember to hit that like button, guys, and remember to get down to the Game Theorists and give them a like and subscribe, too. And don't forget, we are aiming for 5K subs by April. I mean, we still, not by April, but by April 8th. We got about 2 weeks left, and we're already at 4,100 subscribers. Okay? 4,100 and some change subscribers. So, I don't know. If we keep this up, we keep going, we might make it. We might do it. I have faith in you guys. This is awesome. I am so jazzed to see how far we get. And I am really excited about this. So let's see. Don't forget, you wanna help push it. Even if you are a subscriber, don't forget to hit that share button down there and share me on social media, so you bring in more people into my madness and weirdness and my, you know, kind of a dickhead attitude that I have with other people. You know, sorry, can't help it. Actually, I can help it, but I really don't want to. So see you guys next time. Tune in every day for new content. Don't forget to check out my game channel. Everything, all the stuff, links in the description. Bye-bye.